You want a better life. Let's make it real. This is a better life. From scars to stars, from pain to bulletproof. Teresa, better life. A better life with you. Talking news, pop culture life, love and scandal, heart to heart. Teresa, better life. Real is where the reset starts. No playing small. We rise, we fall. We laugh, we do it all. A better life is one brave call. Teresa, better life. Let's build a better life. Let's build a better life. A better life. Teresa, better life.
I'm alive. I'm alive. You're back. I'm back. Yay. It seems like it's been so long. Hi, Retro. Hey, Litters. Hello, everybody. Please come in. Please hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe. Notifications. All the things. Heart next to the chat. Okay, so tons of TDS issues last week with the freeze, and apparently they can't rebury the wire because it's winter and the ground is hard and all that. So if we have any issues, we'll just deal with it, and hopefully it doesn't buffer or anything like that a lot. But the connection would freeze up out there by the box, and so they had to insulate it and all that stuff. Welcome back to A Better Life with Teresa Bruce. Thank you for being here. I've missed all of you. I've been busy. Yesterday I had planned to go in, but my OCD got the better of me looking through the Epstein files. Okay, so remember last week I had talked to you guys about the Dre dossier. Okay, so she's got this new video out, and it's really about Larry Ellison. It's which led me down the rabbit hole. So I was already going through the Epstein files, which is pretty disturbing. You all know that. That was actually kind of triggering and sad. So, remember the episode where Candace did, and it was where she realized and was really, it was a hard week because everybody got real quiet because we realized just the depravity, like our world being run by depraved, sicko, pedophile psychopaths, right? That was remember that for me, that episode, I got real quiet for like 3 days, like real inside, I got real quiet. My head was just processing through all of that information. So it was another thing like that, looking at the Epstein files and really going, it's true, but at an even deeper level, knowing that it's true, right? Let me see your comments. Letter said, who were your favorite group of loons? Cisco hopefully will be able to be here today. And the Epstein files. So have you guys gone on to the DOJ website to see that? Well, I did. And so it led me on. I was really interested in looking at Larry Ellison, Tony Blair. There are some other people, but it also, have you guys heard of David Icke? It also led me to David Icke because in the Epstein files, they have pages of transcript of David Icke's book and his reports and his sources where he reports about, oh God, who is that? Mandelson. Mandelson too. Let me see if I can pull up that file. He was a, let me look at your comments here. I already knew all this. I'm sure you did. Letters. Let's see. I already knew all this. There a scene in Pinocchio that it reminds me of, talking about money and islands and the real boys, right? And Larry Ellison, he bought an island in Hawaii. Yes, Peter Mandelson. Thank you. I knew you'd know that name. So Peter, he's just resigned because he's also in the Epstein files. But what really got me is, so I was looking at Dre dossier, and so she's talking about Larry Ellison, and he's the founder and CEO of Oracle. He was in the CIA. He came out of the CIA with Oracle, and he's wanted our government to implement Oracle for a while now. Okay, so the government's like, yeah, pretty much our people won't go for it. They're not going to go for this state where you're taking all their data and you're storing it and you're using it. So what has happened is he built the AI data centers in Israel, for Israel. Well, he also did it in China. So what has been happening is these bad things happened. So back in 89, remember when China had the protesters and they all camped out in the tent cities, and the Chinese government decided they didn't want to do that. So they went with tanks and they killed everybody, right? Well, so she's talking about the Dre dossier, how that has sort of been erased from history, kind of like what they want to do with Gaza. They want to erase the history of that. Well, they've done it in China. They pretty much, when you go look for anything, you might, if you dig hard, you can find like 1 or 2 videos. But even when you use DeepSeek, which is the Chinese version of ChatGPT or Grok, and you look for what happened, then it says nothing happened. And so she dug deeper and she's like, well, why are you saying nothing happened when it did? Well, DeepSeek locked her out. So what happened was Larry Ellison went in there with Oracle, and he's like, hey, you had these protesters. We want to make sure we can figure out using AI and data when things are going to go wrong. We can look at their social media. We can look at behavior. We can look at weather patterns, and we can predict what people's reactions are going to be and if they're going to break the law, and you can get ahead of it. So the Chinese are like, yeah, hey, give that to us. We want it. Well, our government, as far as we know, was telling him no. So he went in and did this for China. He did. So then we had 9/11. Okay. And so the government was still saying no about all of that. Well, 9/11 happens. And guess what? Larry Ellison says, oh gosh, this bad thing happened. How about I let you use Oracle for free? I'll store all this data for you and it'll help you out, and you can track, all these people, blah, blah, blah. And so the government's like, hey, yeah, you're rescuing us. You're helping us. Let's go ahead and use Oracle. So he gives that to them and they do that. And so now, we have all the things in place since 9/11. And then he wanted to do it with health and all that, and with protests. Well, so they tested it out with protests in Chicago a number of years back, and they again used Oracle. He's like volunteering Oracle out of the goodness of his heart to help our government and to help the US. And they were using that to predict what people were going to do and how they were going to react. Well, they still weren't adopting the data plan for healthcare. So lo and behold, COVID happens. And who rushes in to save the day? Larry Ellison. He's like, well, gosh, I have this Oracle thing and you can use that and I can help you with tracking COVID, who has it, who's got the shots. And the government's like, oh, yay, okay, let's go for it. Well, okay, so Larry has done this for China. They've got medical, they've got political, they've got financial, they've got all these platforms that they're using, and it's called Golden something. You guys go look at the Dre dossier. She's on Substack. She lists all of her sources there and her resources that she's used for her deep dives and her investigation. She's on YouTube. I was up until 5 a.m. Okay, I was up yesterday morning. I went through, you guys, I was going through, I made it through 150 documents on the Epstein files, and I looked into dossier, and then she had these videos, and I stayed up till 5 a.m. and then was up at 10:30 today, still doing more and working more. So anyway, it's really good. It's called Who Do I Work For? And it's basically, Larry Ellison. So he's the richest Jew. According to the Epstein files, somebody had sent Epstein a write-up on Ellison, and he's like the richest Jew to date. So he's got all of our data. They have not yet, he was just at a Las Vegas conference, I think it was last week, where he announced that they're basically going to use AI for genome sequencing and prediction. And while it's still, our medical data is supposedly private because of HIPAA, they're going to, we know, go ahead and try to reverse engineer it so they can trace back. What they want to do is get this data and trace it, see if they can reverse engineer it back to, hey, I know who Teresa Bruce is. Like everybody knows. Well, not everybody, but you guys know. It's like no secret I'm here, but they can use all that data for God knows what. In the middle of the night, in the middle of the morning, when I finally went to bed at 5 a.m. and I was kind of sleeping and thinking, and I'm disturbed and tossing and turning and going, what does this mean for America? What do we do from here? We're not cooked. We've got to be able to do some things and all of that. I'm convinced, and I've had this thought before, they're looking for something. And I want to know what they're looking for. So I'm on a mission to find out what it is they're using this for. They are looking for something. And I'm not quite sure. And I think it has to do with why they're pushing people to have kids. Have you noticed how much they're pushing people to have kids? Like Erika Kirk, TPUSA, the government, they're doing these accounts for the new babies born, that they get this seed money, and then every year $1,000 to start, and then every year I think it's $5,000 until age of 21 or whatever. They are really pushing you to have kids, and I think this is all tied together. I really believe it. David Icke, Icke is how you spell his last name. He's got some books on Amazon. I haven't read them, but they used his transcript, some of the pages from the things he's written, and they're in the FBI study of an investigation of Epstein. So he's the one who's broken down the Mandelson, Tony Blair. I don't think he mentioned Ellison, but I think Ellison's just highly protected. He started out in the CIA. He's protected. So he's a big deal. So let me see what your comments here. Yeah, Peter Mandelson. Palantir, I guess, was wanting some of the work that Oracle was doing, and they were in competition. So I don't know. I think probably behind the scenes there's a little bit of dirty dirt there between those two, because they were in competition for all this. And of course, anyways, there's so much more to it. It's such a good series that she has. She's amazing to me. She's like, wow, I want to get her on the show and talk. So let's see. Letters, you said. I have a shirt that says, let me put you on the screen. I have a shirt that says Chinese, nothing happened. Yes. They've really wiped it out. And what they're saying is they want to do the same thing with Gaza. They want to wipe that out of the history books. So, do you mean Golden Gate? Yeah, I think it is Golden Gate. Like they have all Golden Gate, and then they have like Golden blah, whatever you want to tack onto the end of what he's got going for China. And so, of course, no wonder Trump is in a rush, because he's done it for China, and Trump now wants to beat China. So guess they've got that, they tapped into Trump's ego egotistical, competitive mindset. He's so twisted. Anyways, COVID was a bioweapon made specifically, yes, and specifically to put us in crisis so that the one who rushed in to save us was the hero. So what were you just talking about, Retroplank? Let's see, that's because we're dying out with the large R1BY. Well, and you know what? They're also targeting autism. Now he's got a special group and a registry, although they've put it under a different name because we don't like the word registry, right? So they repackage it and rebrand it as something else. They are pushing people to have kids, and there's something going with this autism too. So we've got a lot of digging in to do because we're at the moments. I was just telling my son, one of my sons, excuse me here. I always have a runny nose, you guys, and I don't know how to fix it. But about the baby making future. Yeah. So I was just telling my son, he's not super active in politics or, not really. He's just living his life. He's young. He's in his 20s, early 20s. And so, when I was in my 20s, I wasn't into it either. But I was telling him, I tell him about this and I'm like, but by the time you care about it, by the time it affects you, by the time it affects your bubble, it's going to be too late. So, we're in stages. We're in stages. Check out Dre Dossier on Substack. I want to join her. She has a subscription. It's free, but she also has a subscription tier that I want to get in on, and I'd really, really, really love to have her on the show. I've reached out to David Icke as well. Hopefully he will answer me, and I've got some other irons in the fire. One of them having to do with Sasha Riley and the author the person who authored or made those recordings. And so we're in talks. I've been working on talking to her and trying to get her scheduled on the show too, for an interview. I don't know if that's going to be live or if it's going to be pre-recorded. So we're still trying to work out schedules there. So yeah, there's some other people I've reached out to. I really want to do something, but what I really want to bring you is really important. Thank you for being here. If you're here for the first time, we will go to Candace live when she comes on. This is the pre-show. Please hit the thumbs up, heart, the chat, hit the heart next to the chat, subscribe, hit the notification bells. Thank you. Anyway, okay, yeah. So what I really want to bring is not just, we have so much information and so many problems. And for me over the weekend, it was really rough. To be honest with you, it can get me down. There's a lot of stuff and I'm like, what do we do? And I don't know which direction, which to bring it from. But so it's my goal to not only talk about these things, but to talk about what we can do. And one of the things we can do is to be really connected with discernment and connected deep with spiritually. And I don't know what that means to you. To me, that's God. And to me, that is, in the Bible, in the Bible, wisdom is capitalized. It's a proper name, capital W. So wisdom, there's wisdom used in other parts of the Bible. It's just a lowercase w, the normal wisdom, but there's a capitalized W in some contexts when they're talking about wisdom, as in it's a proper name. To me, this would be the spirit of wisdom, the spirit of knowledge, the spirit of discernment. In the Bible, they talk about spiritual gifts, and whatever you study spiritually, to me, that's not as important as that you're doing it, as long as it's like not the devil. Like obviously, if you're a devil worshiper, you're going to get some of that evil stuff. But the thing is that's not for me to worry about, because if God wants you to understand God, God's going to bring you around to how you need to understand it and how he wants you to understand it, whatever that is. So I know that that's super, super important. And in these times when we can't believe our eyes and ears all the time, it's AI, it's going to get worse. And they tell us, like, now they're like, things will happen and they say, don't believe what you see, don't believe what you hear. I mean, they already do it without the complication of AI doing that for us. So it's now more than ever, it's important to be able to get into that quiet place and be able to hear and discern that still small voice. And there was a time I told you guys that I was a Christian. From the time I can remember, from being a little girl, 3 years old, I remember hearing God and talking to God in my understanding at 3 years old. I don't know how I knew or called that God, but it was just like a more internal understanding of being able to see and hear from him. And the things that were happening to me, or things that had happened, I was able to see. So there was some abuse, there was sexual abuse, physical abuse, there was all the things that a person can go through traumatically. But I remember at a moment of being 3 years old, of the person who was doing this, I could see the spirit that was behind it. I don't know how, but it was demonic, and I just knew that's what was going on. So because of being hurt from people who were Christians or people who were in church and all that, I had at one point was like, done. I'm done. I'm done with church. Look, I don't have to be a Christian. I don't have to believe in Jesus or, to be a good person, because there's good people who don't. So I remember consciously one day just knowing I was going to do that, and sort of internally having this conversation with God about that, of like, I'm going to go away, because I'm going to go explore over here, because I think I can be a good person without you. And really clearly in my spirit, I could hear him say, the same God you're running from, the God you're running from here is the same God you're going to find over here. And I was like, oh, okay, well, and it was like him just telling me, you go, you're free. You don't, I'm not keeping you here against your will. You go, but the same God you're running from is the same God. I'm the same God in between each of these things, and I will be that God. Oh, and I'll be here when you get back. So in that time, I had investigated and looked into more. I want to say, what is it called? It's escaping my mind. Mediumship, and diving into that and going into that. And so I have some experiences in doing that myself and being very accurate. So yes, he's omnipresent, and the beginning and the end and everything in between. And so he's not concerned. He's not worried. He's not, if you don't get it, if you don't accept it, if you don't realize it in the way that you need to, that's best for you, that's going to get you to the end result of heaven, or whatever that intention is, for our highest good, he's not wringing his hands about it. He'll get you there. So I'm not concerned about that. What I'm concerned about is your spiritual connection, and that that there's an elevated level of that. So you've got the more demonic, and then you've got the more holy. And so that's the part that I'm concerned with. And it looks like, is Candace, my thing is just refreshing. So I don't know what happened. Hopefully things aren't happening weird for you on the stream, because my computer's being wacky. It just is reloading. Candace says, okay, yep. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen with you now. And why is that like that? There we go. Okay, so I will be, telling you, I know I've told you guys, I will be telling you stories of, why isn't that going away? Oh, that's why. Okay. So stories of more of the, some of that spiritual stuff, because I think it's important, and I think I can help share the information that I've learned and that I know to be true, and experiences that are just somewhat unbelievable, unless you know me like this way. You haven't seen me in person, but you know me. So I feel like it's really important to be able to come from somebody so that it's not just like some pie in the sky out there thing that you read about, and a person face to face isn't telling you this. So hi Texas, hi Jets. Let's see. Let's see. Deus is the one true God. The Afro has to take control. Huh. I've never heard of that. It opens you up for more to the other world. They know this. That's why they do it. That's why they have families that normalize it. It's effed up and very dark. I'm going to read this again. Control. Yeah, I mean, they do. They want to control and they want you living in fear. So if they're controlling you, they have you living in fear, you're not really concentrating on the more important, deeper things that can help you, right? Candace is on. Yeah, thank you. Hey, Texas. Hey, let's go. I want to look up how to pronounce that after the show. The Son gave life. Interesting. I will look into that. Hello. If you haven't yet, please hit the notification bells, subscribe, hit the heart next to the chat. Thank you. And I'm glad you're here. So if it's your first time here during Candace's break, I will put her on mute. We'll chit chat a little bit, but I'll stay small so that I can show her advertisers. So we don't miss out on that too. If you've got another screen, go ahead and.
All right, you guys, happy Tuesday. A lot to uncover today. First and foremost, we have a lot of alibis that were given to us about September 10th, where people were when they got the news. And I have to say, these alibis are beginning to crumble like Building 7 on 9/11. We're going to talk about that too, Building 7, very briefly.
By letters.
Also, Ben Shapiro watches every single minute of this show. Trust me, he directly quotes it all the time, everywhere he goes. We don't know, but we know. And you have to watch this clip of him attempting to make fun of me. It's glorious. It's glorious. I really have one. Welcome back to Candace. A lot going on, you guys. A lot to cover, to uncover. And apparently our government is out there just trying to discover certain things. And I just have to tell you what's going on in this world right now, the best way that I can make you understand this. We're essentially the Muggles, for those of us who read Harry Potter, maybe those of us who were dweebing it like me and read it a few times in the story of Harry Potter. We're the Muggles. There's this entire world of witchcraft and wizardry, spiritual darkness and spiritual light that's happening. People that are practicing literally Babylonian magic. And they intentionally rendered us as the Muggles, the people who are not aware that it's going on at all. That all seems so ridiculous. That can't be true. And I think that began, by the way, transforming us into idiots. It began in America, when they removed the Bible out of the classroom. It used to be taught at public schools, the Bible, so that you knew your history. And then kind of Hollywood rose, and they sort of make fun of people that go to church. They've also, people that do go to church are having the word perverted in some ways, as we've covered extensively on this show. They made us think essentially that the Bible was a fairy tale, effectively blinding us all to the fact that it is very real. All of it is real. Angels, demons. Today's just going to be one of those WTF episodes when I share with you the true story of what the heck we were doing in Iraq. We're Iraq. Let's go back. Let's go backward. Let's recap the Muggle edition of what we were told, okay? The Muggle edition goes like this. On September 11th, 2001, some super de-duper evil Muslims, known to most of us now as Israelis, hijacked some planes and drove them into the Pentagon, flew them into the Pentagon building, also the Twin Towers, and then Building 7 kind of got really emotional seeing his friends get hit and went ahead and just collapsed itself, right? By the way, I should mention that over at the Pentagon, that plane was also very unique. It apparently had no wings when it just dove into the Pentagon. Some people said they heard a missile, but we won't ask questions. We're not here to debate those conspiracies. We were told that this was executed by the Saudis. They had hijacked the plane. How did we know? Well, because one of them was kind enough as to conveniently drop off his passport on the sidewalk to make sure that we knew that it was them that was getting away with these super duper evil crimes. I'll remind you of that video very quickly about the passport being found.
Donna, when these buildings came crashing down on Tuesday, they sent debris showering in several blocks in every direction. And it was in one of those areas a couple of blocks away from the World Trade Center site, apparently where that passport was found. The FBI announcing that it has found the passport of one of the hijackers who was on board one of those two planes that hit the Twin Towers on Tuesday morning.
I mean, I was young. But for those of you that were not young and were grown adults, did you just accept that? I was a kid. That's my excuse, okay? I was in middle school. But for those of you that were not in middle school, did you just accept this? Those of you that had families, did you go watch the news and go, no, that makes sense. Yeah, the debris just we could not even find human remains, but the debris just fell and unfortunately flew away out the window. He just like threw his passport. I have so many questions about that. But again, we're not here to relitigate 9/11. We know how we felt. We all gathered around those super bulky big screen TVs, and we were perhaps expecting that as a result of this, we may indeed have to go to war with Saudi Arabia. That's what makes sense. They dropped the passports off for us to find and the debris. But that actually didn't happen. Oddly, we were told a couple of years later that we had to go to war with Iraq very quickly. Now, yesterday, I mentioned to you all the Epic of Gilgamesh of Uruk, understood to be actually the story of Nimrod in the Bible. He was a warrior who rebelled against God, Nimrod, and established his own kingdom in Mesopotamia and in Assyria. I'm showing you this map of that region so you can see where exactly we're speaking about. Kind of feels like where we're doing a lot of stuff right now, actually. Lebanon, Syria, and now we're talking about going into Iran. Well, I got an email yesterday from one of you, and I have to read it to you because I went, no way. I also got some other emails, but this one I'm going to read to you. Dear Candace, I never email people, but I watched your show today and felt led to send you this email you mentioned in your show about the Clintons wanting to find Gilgamesh's tomb. You need to look up the research that was done by Rob Skiba. They did find Gilgamesh, aka Nimrod. He was a giant. He was very well intact. Yes, we invaded just after he was found. The first place that we went during that war and set up a base was a museum. Not just any museum, the museum that held all of the relics for that. It also held all of the cuneiform tablets from Babylon and Gilgamesh and or Nimrod's tomb. They said that the museum was, quote, raided, and that they, the military, retrieved everything except for the tablets that had to do with reincarnating and bringing back the Nephilim, fallen angels, noted in Genesis 6. The Bible speaks of this. This is not a fantasy. This is a fact. They have to have Nimrod to bring the Antichrist forth. Please go watch Babylon Rising by Rob Skiba or read the book or his other work on this. He has done many videos and books and backs his work up and uses scripture too. He's not the only one that knows this and had vetted these things out. I pray, if you didn't already know this, that it helps you continue on your quest for truth. Now, that term Babylon Rising instantly flagged to me as interesting because as I've been speaking to you about what the elite practice, and it's telling you that this goes back to the Sumerian tablets, Project Looking Glass. They freaked out when I discussed that. This idea of these occultists, Babylon Rising, the names of their books, this Babylonian magic, it's a theme that just keeps cropping up, whether you're referring to Aleister Crowley or Jack Parsons. So I went, wait a second. Because we never really did get an answer for what we were doing in Iraq, you know. The email happens to check out. Surely enough, back in 2002, a group of German geophysicists began making trips into modern-day Iraq to map out what they believed they had discovered, which was ancient Iraq that aligned with the ancient texts of Gilgamesh. I'm going to show you this headline because I honestly, this is like unbelievable. 2 German geophysicists, one named Georg Fassbinder and Helmut Becker, they were working for the Bavarian State Conservation Office in Munich, and they began using magnetic mapping to discover the old city. And suddenly they go, wait a second, this is his tomb. When exactly did they find it? We know for sure that it was sometime between May 2002 and very early 2003. They became convinced that indeed they had found the actual tomb of Gilgamesh, also, like I said, known as Nimrod in the Bible. This is within the exact timeline that we make a decision to invade Iraq. It's going to get even more insane. So it's February 5th, 2003. Colin Powell publicly states, rather notoriously now infamously states, that Iraq possessed weapons of mass destruction. He's holding up the anthrax. He's addressing the United Nations Security Council. Okay. Then that quickly, next month on March 20th, 2003, we invade Iraq. The public is informed a couple of weeks thereafter, the BBC, so state arm, that Fassbinder indeed had made the discovery of Gilgamesh's tomb. And conveniently, well, guess what our boys did? They were there. They happened to make their military base at that exact location. Like, this is just incredible. Colin Powell publicly states there's weapons of mass destruction during his address, and then bam, there we are on top of Babylon. But what exactly were we doing there? Other than, the obligatory mass murdering, plundering ancient Christian civilizations and structures, a million Iraqi civilians that were killed. That's a given. We just are always destroying Christian relics, but because we have to destroy history, they have to destroy history. But in retrospect, I have to say that I gotta stand for my boy Colin Powell looking into this, because I think he told the truth that they were indeed searching for weapons of mass destruction, but of a spiritual caliber, mass spiritual destruction. It is absolutely not a conspiracy. You can look us up yourself, that we, like I told you, set up our military base, Camp Alpha, right on top of ancient Babylon. Our boys then began digging. They said that the reason that they chose this place was because they wanted to protect the site from looters. Except, I guess, the military guys got confused at the top. They accidentally started doing the looting. The instructions just weren't clear over there. This is actually a United Nations article published in 2009 when we had to confess our sins before the world. It reads in part, quote, Babylon was the capital city for 2 famous kings of antiquity, Hammurabi, who introduced one of the world's first law codes, and of course, Nebuchadnezzar. Partially excavated over the last century, much of ancient Babylon, which lies 90 kilometers south of Baghdad, remains undiscovered. Now, according to a 2005 British Museum report, the use of Babylon as a camp by a multinational force between April 2003 and December of 2004, by coalition forces is, quote, tantamount to establishing a military camp around the Great Pyramid in Egypt, or the Stonehenge in Britain. Tells us later that Babylon was indeed plundered during the 2003 war, when contents from Hammurabi and Nebuchadnezzar museums and from the Babylon Library and Archive were stolen and destroyed. Oh, well, did we just go to war because we wanted to go on an archaeological dig? And we actually weren't allowed to do that because it was discovered and it belonged to people in Iraq. So they were like, weapons of mass destruction. We're going to need to go there and set up camp and do some digging. Sure enough, that's what the local said they did. And they just transported things out of there. This is from NBC News. It tells us that a senior U.S. military officer has said that he's willing to apologize for damage that his troops caused in one of Iraq's most famous ancient sites. The British Broadcasting Corp reported Friday that after the 2003 invasion of Iraq, U.S. Marines built a helicopter pad on the ruins of Babylon and filled their sandbags with archaeological fragments from the ancient city. It said vibrations from the U.S. helicopters caused the roof of one of the buildings to collapse. We were not there to protect ancient ruins. We were there to plunder and to loot and to steal.
Of course we were.
We discover that Gilgamesh's tomb is in this city. Locals reported that at night, Americans were digging and they were extracting in military operations. But to where? That's the question. Where did they take Nimrod's remains? Why do they want them? What do you guys think they're trying to do with Nimrod's body? Time for you guys to wake up, really wake up, and to understand that many of us are kind of coming out of a fog. I certainly me.
Yeah.
Never forget who Nimrod was in the Bible, right? Nimrod was the original one world government guy seeking to unite humanity under the Tower of Babel, one system created in defiance of the creator. One world government. This is why the mystery cults, they revere Nimrod. Freemasons revere Nimrod. In Masonic tradition, Nimrod is considered to be the first grand master, even before Solomon. I was telling you about that. This is all very real. It should shock you. We're probably like, was I about? Yes, absolutely. And so people then dug up, and this got a bit confused, by the way. So I should clarify that there was this still never quite explained FOIA request that went through to the State Department requesting documents pertaining to the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh, the location of his body and the location of the buried Nephilim. Who are we talking about? Who are we speaking about when we refer to these people, the fallen angels? Guys, I am telling you, and this is not a part of Catholic canon, but you are allowed to read it, and you should read it. I read it on a plane. I don't even know what was going through my mind where I decided I needed to read the Book of Enoch. I think it is so important to read the Book of Enoch, okay? To read about the fallen angels. That this is your real history. I'm sorry to tell you guys, you're not a dinosaur. Okay, you weren't a dinosaur. You're not just like floating. Thank you, Katy Perry, but you're not like a plastic bag floating through the wind. I didn't really ever find that line to be relatable at all. I've never felt that way. This is all very real, and the elites have held on to this. They destroy history because they don't want you to know this. They envision a world like Nimrod. One world government. They are going to be the gods. You will have no sense of where you come from. You will have no sense of your history, and your souls will be completely perverted and corrupted by them. That is what they are doing. So people always ask why I'm always so happy and so positive. How is it possible that the Epstein files can drop and I maintain a happy attitude? In your comment yesterday, I
want to know that.
What do we do? Now that we know this is real and they're practicing this? Well, you have to also consider the other thing. They're doing this because God is real. That I feel like that's like the best message ever. How could you not be happy recognizing that they are just betting against God like they always do? These people want to recreate Babylon. Okay, this is the story of Hollywood, Babylon. Read the books. They have always been obsessed with this. But who are they contending with? God. And I feel like many people, myself included, go through a period where you wonder, and that's intentional, of course, like I said, because they've stripped our true history, and we're not even where we're supposed to be. Like, we're in America. How did we get here? We know nothing about ourselves. And you go through this period where you question whether or not God's real. And I certainly thought, no. Well, coming out of high school, that's just like my grandparents were into that. That's the old world. We're the cool world. And then you get to an age and you get to a point where you recognize, oh yeah, God's definitely real. And we've been asleep. We've been the muggles. They know he's real. And you want to spell the end of this satanic reign, everything that they have been doing and the blood that they have been shedding. It's our awakening. It's our awareness. So you should be happy. You should be encouraged. This stuff shouldn't scare you. You should be happy to know that this isn't it. And the reason why they want people to be selfish, the reason why they want us to be atheist, why they have been so intentional about making sure they fill us with nonsense and junk and no sense of true history, why they protect the field of archaeology. They don't ever want us to be the ones to find something and learn something about history that's real. The reason that they're doing all that is because then they can get you to trade your soul. Like if you really believe that all you had was 80 years and there was nothing else beyond this, like they want you to believe, then you would sell your soul to the devil for money. That's what a lot of people are doing. But when you suddenly go, oh wait, there's more. Actually, I'm a soul and I am an eternal soul. Then you go, okay, well, I'm not going to do a deal for $7,000 to support murdering children in Gaza. It's a happy message, I'm telling you guys. But read the Book of Enoch if you have not read it, and learn about the fallen angels. It is incredible. Learn about your true history. Anyways, I wanted to share that with you because I was just, I can't believe that about Iraq. People asking, what's the obsession with Iran? What's suddenly the obsession with Greenland? I think a lot bigger. I don't know what the obsession is, but I'm inclined to think a lot bigger. We'll take a brief break before I tell you about some alibis that I think are maybe falling apart regarding September 10th. All right, you guys, one of the reasons
Okay, yes, we are more than just this body here. And okay, so back to what I was saying before the show started. So yes, thank you for joining. We come here so that we can chat because we can't really, engage with each other and chat because Candace is so amazing and popular and everybody wants to chat there. So we can do that here. I just like to keep her ads running there. So we do a little bit of chatting here during the break. But what I was saying, I also do a pre-show. So anyways, what I was saying is I think that they're looking for something. Ellison doing the data, wanting our gene, wanting all of our medical stuff so they can reverse engineer and get back to find what they're looking for. I believe, here's what I believe. This might sound really crazy, you guys, but I'm going to go down this hole. And I'm going to continue to dig here. But I believe that they are in search for the Antichrist. I think they're looking for someone specific. I don't think it's something. I think it's someone. I think they're looking for someone specific. And they want all this information because they want to possibly look at the descendants or who would be attached to Nimrod or, somebody attached to all of that. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. A big flying saucer gosh, where's my mouth? I can't find my mouth here. What is this? They say a big flying saucer in the Lake of Greenland. Yeah. Knowledge is power, and they want to keep knowledge for themselves. They sure do. Someone. Yes, absolutely. Okay, Candace is back.
Nimrod, which I totally believe, given this Babylonian magic theme of the occult and their rituals, it all correlates right there. And because I'm not, like I said, like a plastic bag flowing through the wind, and I'm now aware of history, and I believe in God, and I obviously know these people are satanic, it gives new meaning to this sort of military cult, because that is also a corollary that I have built. It's like constantly the military. So much involvement, even in the Charlie Kirk story, like just everywhere. I said, I don't know when Turning Point just became a literal military operation, but indeed it did. All these people with very strong ties to the military, his wife included, right? Her mother in particular. I want to speak about Erika's alibi on September 10th. And I'm going to put it out there that I do not believe it. I do not believe we are being told the truth regarding her alibi. I have, at least I can say, I guess the best way to say it is, I now officially have some serious questions pertaining to her alibi. And these question marks are really regarding her mother, Lori France Faye. I have been working through Erika's life, and when you start to do that and build a timeline, it inevitably leads you to her mother, who I believe is very shady. She has a number of LLCs, and when I say a number, I mean it's almost incalculable, the amount of LLCs, trying to figure out what exactly this does, the technology, connections from France to Arizona to Cincinnati to Massachusetts. And I realized something about her mother. First and foremost, I told you that when we met, that was the only time that I sensed very strong emotion from her was in mentioning her mother. But I do realize now that it seems to me to be an intentional effort to protect Erika's mother throughout this entire thing. Before, like, regarding even September 10th. Leading up to September 10th, Erika did something that is, it's unusual. It was unusual in terms of the manner in which Erika normally posts. She does not typically post her mother. She is private about her mother. She's always been very private about her mother, actually.
She was creating
Last
an
about Turning
alibi.
Point USA don't know her mother, despite the fact that her mother sits on the board of companies related to Turning Point USA, despite the fact that her mother is involved with sort of the geofencing and things of that nature. What is that specific company called? Superfeed Technologies. Despite the fact that her mother was, present next to Erika in 2015 when she was standing behind Trump, they don't know Erika's mother. Superfeed Technologies, Tyler Boyer knows her, but she kind of keeps her in the background. So it was unusual, and I can tell you exactly how unusual. Erika had not posted anything about her mom since 2022. Then, despite the last post being in April of 2022 on Mother's Day, she did a post for her mother, I believe it was Mother's Day. Fast forward to 2025, and she moves on September 7th, just 3 days before Charlie dies. She doesn't just post her mother, she posts her mother in an incredibly vulnerable position. Her mother looks to be very sick, and she posts, "I wanted to make sure that you were the first. And if you're looking at this, you're glancing at this, it's a countdown of some description." And she says 10 days until September 16th. Now, we don't know what that 10-day countdown was pertaining to, because obviously things changed. In fact, September 16th is actually when she hosted her first Zoom call with as the new CEO and chairman. But I'm sure there was some other plan that was there. Again, unusual even for people who are private on Instagram. I mean, even for people who are very public, sharing everything, who overshare on Instagram. You don't want to post someone in such a vulnerable position. Like, that's not how you want to use Instagram. This is not her and Charlie. When it comes to their private life, they're actually exceedingly private. You don't see photos of their children. So this was new. This was different. This was exceptional, I think, is something that we can say. We fast forward.
Maybe she's getting Neuralink
to September 10th, and we learn, one of the people that told us this was the New York Times, that on September 10th, Erika was at the hospital while her mother was receiving treatments. Now, that hospital word came from the New York Times. It was not a direct quotation from Erika, but they said that she was in the hospital when Mikey McCoy called her, quote unquote, within seconds. We later learned that actually that phone call did not come in within seconds. Actually, Mikey called his wife first. So much for that training that Charlie allegedly gave him. This is what you do immediately. Walk away and call your wife. And then call Erika 3 minutes later, 3+ minutes later, and then add Erika to the line while your wife is on the phone. I'm not really buying that, but okay. We know that they had a very brief call, a couple of minutes, and then we are told that she left her mother, who was receiving a medical treatment, and then she collapsed in the parking lot. Now, I got suddenly interested in this narrative for a couple of reasons, all because I then realized her mother was used again in an alibi when I was contacting Justin Strife, trying to figure out what Erika was doing on September 8th, just wanting some sort of an alibi, and it kept getting delayed. And I was told that her mother was very, very sick, and that was the reason why, and that she was spending her days in the hospital with her mother. I can confirm that the message that he sent me, certainly the lighting does not look like she is in a hospital. It looks like she's where she is there, which is at her apartment building. And also what I can now confirm to you for a fact is that the mother was receiving treatment not at a hospital, but at a sort of holistic clinic, if you will. And again, this is one of those situations where you wouldn't normally speak about the health of somebody's mother, but you're putting us in the casket with Charlie. We have a right to ask where he's buried. You're going to put us in this very vulnerable position with your mother. I guess it's okay for us to discuss your mother's illnesses, because this is a post, right? I would never, ever, ever, ever post this. I find that to be, again, I also wouldn't post somebody in a casket, but different strokes for different folks. What is interesting to me is I have known for a while, she's not lying about her mother having Lyme disease. That's what her mother has. I know this because I talked to Charlie about this. Charlie, once upon a time, he and I spoke extensively about how he was flying out her mother to do treatments for Lyme disease overseas because there was better treatment in Europe, options available. Bella Hadid posts a lot about this. Her, and I think her brother as well, have Lyme disease, and she goes overseas and she posts about different medical treatments that they have available in Europe. So I was aware that her mother had Lyme disease. That totally passed the test for me. But I
Yeah,
think the
that's
reason why we
weird.
were sort of given this
Intrusive.
kind of nondescript thing and we were led to believe that she was in a hospital was because then you wouldn't ask the next natural question, which is why didn't she go with Erika to Utah? Like, you're with your mom when you hit the news, why not instantly go with your daughter to Utah? So we were led to believe that she was in a condition where she could not do this. I find that to be interesting, especially because I have learned, and I believe this is accurate, that on September 8th, we can pull up the timeline here, that Charlie took Erika's mother for a treatment for Lyme disease at a clinic. I have the address, the name of the clinic. I'm not going to be publishing that because I don't think that that's relevant at this time. But it makes September 8th really interesting because I am told that these treatments, and again, these are holistic treatments that you can go to at a center. There's all sorts of things that you can get done now for Lyme disease and other diseases. I am told that these treatments last between 1 to 2 hours, okay? 1 on the short end, then up to 2 hours. And yeah, you could, if you wanted, get an intense treatment on the 8th, followed by on the 10th, 2 days later. So I don't need to question that narrative. But I am starting to look at Charlie's schedule because Charlie came back from Korea and Tokyo, his trip, very late, almost early morning on September 8th, very late on the 7th. We know when he landed into California and then continued on to Arizona. So I'm assuming he slept. And then we know that he's at home when he appears in his home studio for the Charlie Kirk show. He does not go to the office on this day, and we're going to have to fit him into taking Lori to a treatment center. This also makes me think, as I had mentioned the other day, that Erika was not around on the 8th because of Frank Turek's statement, where he says Charlie was dealing with the kids. I can't find a single person in this complex that they live that can verify that they saw Erika on this day. And they know her. They verified they saw her on the 9th, right? They didn't see her on the 8th. Okay, now we have Charlie. Why would Charlie go? Okay, she says they were super close. I would assume that if Erika was available, Erika might have taken her to this treatment, right? This 1 to 2 hour treatment. And it puts us in this window of, if we account for driving time, this treatment having to have taken place between 12 and 3:30. And if it's a long treatment, this is the gap that we're putting this in, because otherwise it's not possible. We have everything else put into this timeline, and these things, again, are verifiable. Again, that Erika says that she made Charlie dinner. That has been the alibi for Fort Huachuca. I have questions about that. I have a lot of questions about that particular timeline and whether or not she was indeed at home making him dinner. It is pointing to the possibility that Erika was just not there on the 8th at all. And the way in which her mother was again used to sort of guilt us away from asking questions. When I was asking her for Huachuca, oh, she's with her mom, until she then popped up, which she wouldn't have had this happen. And then I texted and I said, you told me that she's like not available at all because she's with her mom and her mom's like in a hospital, but she's actually at a basketball game because a fan caught Erika at a basketball game. And then it was like, oh yeah. Was it a football game, Skylar? A football game. And then it was like, oh, okay. You've been asking for this Fort Huachuca thing, blah, blah, blah. And then they gave me something that I didn't ask for. Maybe I wasn't clear, but across weeks, I'm just trying to get a basic alibi for September 8th. And I'm just kind of getting pushed
nothing
around. And then finally they give me something, and a couple of days later, they send me a cease and desist, and they mention Fort Huachuca. I have questions. I think that we were being emotionally manipulated not to ask questions about her mother.
100%.
Who, if she is extraordinarily sick, and I'm not down, and like I said, I know that she has Lyme disease. That's a fact. And I know that there are varying levels and stages of Lyme disease as a fact. I'm not doubting any of that. I am saying that I feel we have been intentionally given that story so that nobody could possibly touch it. Like that post there, to me, feels a little bit manipulative. I can't explain it. It's not her usual posting. She doesn't post that kind of stuff. It's similar to the Charlie in the casket, right? Yeah. And then suddenly like, can I have anything for myself when people ask a question like, hey, actually, where did you bury him? And then suddenly it's like, how dare you intrude upon where Charlie's body is? What will you literally put us in the casket with like your chief fundraiser person to make money? So we're only allowed to ask questions if money is going to be made. I don't think it works like that. It doesn't work like that, actually. So I just wanted to raise that, and I have some more leads that I'm going to prod, but I'm going to put out there that I am having trouble confirming this story. And I'm wondering why that is. So if you have information, and I do know the names of 2 different clinics, by the way, because they were 2 different clinics, the one on the 10th versus the one on the 8th. If you have any information, please email us more tips at CandaceOwens.com as we begin to put the pieces together in what may be a slippery alibi. It could be people were told what to say, what to do, people were at certain places, but something is not right. Something is really not right. We're going to get to the truth. We will get to the truth. Christ is king, as we say. And it's a perfect time for me to announce, by the way, that I will be speaking. I actually have not spoken in a while publicly. I've been working on my podcast because I was at war with Zionists. But I will be speaking at the Catholics for Catholics conference on March 19th in Washington, D.C. The reason I haven't spoken in well over a year was, first and foremost, I was supposed to go on that tour in Australia, but I got blocked by the Zionist lobby of Australia. I was supposed to be on tour with Charlie before he died, but I got blocked by Zionists here in America. And so it is a refreshing and a good thing that the Catholic Church is standing apart from that. Be careful, Candace. Influence that really doesn't have a place there. Doesn't have a place there. If you are Catholic, or even if you are Catholic curious, I would love for you guys to be there. You can visit CFORC, so c4c.com/prayer, and you will save $100 off your purchase if you use code Candace at checkout. C4C, that stands for Catholics for Catholics.com/prayer. And the code is valid until Valentine's Day. And here is Johnny Yep. There's a lot I could say here, but I'm probably going to save it for the stage of how I got involved with Catholics for Catholics. There's just so much. I see a lot of God in it, but here's Johnny Yep's announcement.
War calls for warriors, men and women ready to risk it all in the pursuit of truth. Just 48 hours before my friend Charlie Kirk was shot, in spite of the fierce pushback, he made known his intention to have Candace speak at his own signature event. With this in mind, and with a nod to my friend Charlie, Catholics for Catholics is honored to announce that Candace Owens will be joining us as one of the keynote speakers at our National Catholic Prayer for America Gala in Washington, D.C. on March 19th.
To become a student of history is to become a Catholic.
Charlie predicted that one day, when he himself would die young, that Candace would become a David in the fight for America. She will give a testimony on how her faith in Christ has given her the courage to fight the Goliaths of this anti-Christian world.
It has forever been a holy war that is being waged against goodness.
Get your tickets now at c4c.com. See you there. Christ is King.
Again, a lot there. I'll probably share more of it on stage, but Johnny randomly visited me. I call him Johnny Yep because it just feels like it should be said together. Johnny Yep randomly visited me the week before when I was just in this spell and sensed that danger was coming. He came down, he saw me and my husband, and we started talking about Charlie, and he was like, I think he's close. And I was trying to share that with you guys, that we were like rooting in, because he attends the same church as Charlie. He was like, I think he's close. I think, the guy. And I was like, yeah, I know. I'm pushing him on the Catholic stuff. And there has just been a lot of synergy. I'm just very excited about it. I think this is a direction. I think we now all realize that it is a spiritual war, and it is just good versus evil, liars versus the truth. Speaking of which, I don't know why I am now suddenly enjoying Ben Shapiro clips. First and foremost, because I've worked at Daily Wire, so when I watch clips, I just have rare insight. So there's this thing that we do at that we used to do at the Daily Wire called, or I used to do at the Daily Wire, but they still do, called All Access, right? And essentially, it's like for your top fans who can ask you questions. And so the idea, first and foremost, they're trying to set this up. And if there's not a lot of people that are asking questions, a producer will just kind of write in some questions, like before people jump online, that will just write some questions to get the discussion going. And I would just imagine that there's a lot of producers that are writing questions that Ben wants them to ask so that he could answer and kind of diss me. And that's what you're going to see here. And so because they're like running out of things to say about me, their new push is just that I'm stupid. Candace is dumb. She's really stupid. She mispronounced a word. We're going to go scroll through 300 episodes and look.
Find all the
she
words.
meant to say revelations, but she said relevations. She's ignorant. So Ben is so obviously answering a question that is asked by his producer, and they just like push any mistake I make, anything. They just like push through the algorithm. People make videos. Sometimes it's not even a mistake. Like when I was talking about temperature, and they made it such a big deal about what temperature water freezes at, as if they don't understand that if it's 30 degrees outside, it's warmer in some spots and cooler in other spots. It's warmer at my deck. Do you guys know about the sun rising?
Yeah, they're
And
petty.
like, it's warm on one side of the house. It's so ridiculous. I tried to push this through. It was just ridiculous. Like I'm like, it's 40 degrees on my deck and the snow is not melting. It's 32 degrees here in Nashville. And they're like, she's an idiot. She doesn't understand. That snow doesn't melt. Anyway, you're going to watch Ben Shapiro because this is their new thing. Candace is an idiot. Ask himself a question so he can answer it. And also, of course, make fun of a dream and make it kind of weird when I said that, like, described it as a chessboard. Take a listen.
Did I hear that Candace said on her show she had dreams about playing Hogwarts chess with you? That's the... Okay, now. All right. Well, you know, that's weird. It's a little bit weird. I mean, I guess that's pronounced what-eared or what-eared. Wait, should I pronounce? Yeah.
He's obsessed.
I don't know. Maybe we should have a discussion about the temperature at which ice freezes. Or maybe we can talk about various German terms and their proper pronunciation, like Blitzkrieg. I will freely admit that I did make a few jokes around the office about other Nazi breakfast foods besides Blitzkriegs, which may include Luftwaffles. Candace also interviewed Bassem Youssef and told him she thinks something bad happened in your childhood because you fixate and lack empathy. Man, so much projection. Oh my goodness. What? Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. All right, whatever, man. Whatever.
I just want to acknowledge the fact that he watches every minute of this. Like, just own it. You're a Standis. You have every single Standis cup. It's just amazing. And this new push of Candace is an idiot. If I'm an idiot, you should try it. You might have a successful company. Like, if I am an idiot, Ben, you should try it. And I love that it's kind of their natural route too, because like when you start to learn like the real history behind the slave trade, Benny boy, I'm ignorant, but not that ignorant. And you know, he just so badly just wants to hard R it. Like he's like that. They're at the point now where they're like, how could we basically just like call her the N-word, but like not fall into like just saying the N-word? Like I don't want to be Nick Fuentes, but like, you know, Ben, I'm gonna give you an N-word pass. Just say it. Just get it off your chest. That's what it means, right? Like an ignorant black person. Stop having people scroll through every second of my show trying to find me mispronouncing words, or I'm sorry, I don't speak German. Blitzkrieg. Just get it off your chest, Ben. Just hard R it. That's what you're feeling right now. He hates you with a passion. He has been watching every minute of this show since I left the Daily Wire. That was actually Alyssa's job when back when Jeremy was there. They used to keep a file, and then they would send it around to all of their influencers of clips of the show and taking me out of context and then trying to make it go viral, whether it was calling me an idiot or trying to pretend that I was like the worst anti-Semite ever because I brought up something that's, you know, true about Israel or its history. They pay people to do this. And I just want to give him the N-word pass. Just like get it off your chest, man. I know you hate me with a burning passion, but like it's gotten to a point now where it's not really hate and it's kind of, you know, we don't know, but we know. You're on stage
He's in
saying
denial.
catchphrases from the show. You're a fan. You like it. It's fine. All right, we'll be right back after a quick break. All right, you guys, let's be honest. Getting all of your daily fruits and vegetables is not always easy. Life
Yeah, so they still didn't give Candace the picture. They acted like they gave it to her and then acted like they didn't understand what she wanted, which is crazy. Because they know that so many people watch her and they know that nobody, not everybody's going to buy that. Yeah, I want a shirt too. I typically don't wear things like with other people's name and stuff on it, but I would wear something of Candace's for sure. The CIA one, which one? I think I want that one too. Anyway, so some people think that Charlie's still alive, and to be honest, I've wondered that at times because Candace. The CIA thermos Cisco. Erika has so often said it's like I talked to him every day. He's still alive, more alive than ever, and more with us than ever. So I don't know if that's just intentionally to make people think, maybe he's still alive, to keep the disinformation going, to keep people guessing and confused, because that's the biggest tactic. That's what they want to do. With all of us, is to give us so many different pieces of information that we're guessing and we don't know what to believe and we're confused. It's a trick. So I don't know if it's a mind game that she's playing, because I know that she knows those mind games, and I wonder what's up with her mom. I'm gonna unmute her.
They're speaking Yiddish. I think the Yiddish term is schwarze, by the way. He wants a hard R, right? That's what he wants to say. You know. They hate me like in a way that you can't even believe. You don't play with them, bro. They're like, get the slave back on the plantation. You will not have
That'd be
this.
something.
She ignorant. Anyways, you guys, we have new merch available on the website. Oop, cut that. I said merch. I said merch, not merch. You got me. New merch
I think
on the
she
website.
should do things on purpose. She should say things wrong.
An autographed
on
bundle, hard copy, available of Make Him a Sandwich and Blackout, both hand signed by me. No two copies are the same. I actually sign all of them. We've also merged our subscription tiers into one Club Candace tier for $11.99 a month or $120 per year. Join the book club, you guys. We're so deep on this, and it's all kind of happening right now. And it is kind of amazing that we've been calling it and speaking about these things, and it was very taboo, and now everyone's speaking about it. Even the guy that, what's his name, that played, I'm blanking on his name. I'm so bad with actor names. He played Hercules. He tweeted that that's why he left Hollywood. He was like, they were just all a bunch of pedos. Kevin Sorbo, that's right. I used to watch him all the time in Hercules, but he's like, yeah, that's the very reason that I left Hollywood. He tweeted that yesterday, and it's all kind of coming out, and it's no longer a taboo subject. It's actually what they are doing is a Babylonian taboo, so to speak. The top comment from yesterday's episode, by the way, is, why is Erika lying to the only person trying to find who killed her husband?
Good question.
It's a question.
It's a good question.
That needs answering, in my opinion. That is what is striking me as odd. As soon as I recognized the first lie and I just saw that lie through and through, I was like, nope. I actually, to be honest, the first thing I clocked was letting people that your husband didn't like into your zone right after he died. Like whether it's New York Times, whether it's allowing them to buy slots to speak, that to me didn't feel natural. Like Amfest is for me when things just started fraying very badly. And I went, what are we actually looking at here? What's happening? You might know something. You can message me more tips. You can send us an email, moretips@CandaceOwens.com. All right, let's get to some of your comments for today's episode. Let me scroll here to the bottom.
How do they even see the
Arielus
comments, you
writes,
guys?
about the Zooms. I don't understand why Erika kept saying we need to stay humble. Like if my husband was murdered, that is not something I would need to repeat over and over to myself.
Right.
Weird. Yeah, I also don't necessarily think that the choice adjective to describe Amfest would be humble. I don't
or Erika.
think Tim Dillon would describe it as a humbling experience at all, by any means, by any stretch of an imagination. Remain Light writes, did everyone see the news about Jill Biden's ex-husband, Bill Richardson?
Did you guys see
That's
that?
Jill, by the way. I feel like when I say Jill, it
he
sounds
killed
like
his
Joe.
wife.
Jill Biden, I've been telling you guys, she's crazy. She's out of her mind. She's like the one hungry for power. I've always felt that way about her. Well, apparently her ex-husband, Remain Light writes, was indicted with first-degree murder of his ex-wife, which happened back in December.
looks
Huge news
crazy.
here in Delaware and now beyond. God bless you and yours. Wait, is it Richardson, like the law firm? Richardson in Delaware? Who is he? Who is he, actually? Let's check out this article. Tell us what he does. I'm gonna let you guys figure that out. Oh, is it ex-husband? It says Bill Richardson. This person has the wrong name. Okay. Bill Richardson did nothing. He's out here catching strays. Okay. So it's William Stevenson is actually the correct person. I'm glad we looked it up because I would have gotten a little cease and desist from poor Bill Richardson. William Stevenson, 77, of Wilmington, was married to Jill Biden for 5 years, 1970 to 1975. And apparently that seems to be going on. Jill Biden has declined to comment. That is interesting. The woman was found unresponsive in the living room, and life-saving measures were unsuccessful. Okay, that is some breaking news, and I am hearing it right now. Thanks for letting us know. We will follow up on that probably tomorrow. Cheryl Wells writes, "You are an amazing woman and a journalist. I'm proud to be in your audience. Christ truly is king." Thank you so much. Shannon writes, "Collectively, we, millions worldwide, are shifting consciousness back to truth and light, boldly holding back the darkness. God bless you, Candace, for leading the charge, taking all of the slings and arrows, an epic hero's journey. You were made for this." Well, let's hope it's not an epic like Gilgamesh. I was actually saying how odd it is that we were writing papers about this in school and they made us think Gilgamesh was a hero. It is Nimrod. Get your kids out of these schools. You want to know what you can do? Take your children out of school. Okay. The entire academic pathway that has been established for them is about getting them to worship false idols in place of true God. That is just, I'm stunned by that in retrospect. Judah Schultz writes, "Just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for being lethal and unstoppable, for being fervent for the truth and exposing evil, and for being a beacon of hope and a voice for the people. P.S. I absolutely love your sarcasm while you do it. I'm a happy person, just kind of baseline a happy person. And I'm so honest when I say that it comes from just realizing it's all real. I don't know. That should encourage you. That should warm you at night. Like, there's more beyond this. And people are trying to get you to sell your soul to the devil, and you have every opportunity to say no. These people are into kids. Keep your kids safe. Pull them out of the school. There's nothing there. And I do believe they have established a network everywhere. And they treat the classroom as Sigmund Freud, their father, would want them to. And Sigmund Freud outwardly said, I have to be Satan. I have to be Lucifer. And they were like, oh, that's normal. He has to do that to understand how other people think. Yeah, right. Moderator Marzi writes, "Shout out to Norm Finkelstein. Epstein and Dershowitz contacted Finkelstein, but he called them pedophiles and threatened to hurt them." I loved that. We had Norm Finkelstein on this show. And the reason I love Norm Finkelstein is there's a lot of reasons I love him.
Did you guys see that
particularly,
episode?
I do love the fact that he is Jewish. And the reason why I love it is because the evil people who are purporting to be Jews have so much power in the media that they can wrongly delude people to believing in, like I said, that false dialectic that it's, oh, well, this is just their perspective. This is what they all think. This is how they all act. They're all into this. And it's always like a powerful elite. They have amassed too much power. And to see Norm Finkelstein just be like, out of my face, you are disgusting. You're a pedophile and I will hurt you is fantastic. He is such a good person. I've sat down. We have disagreements. Of course we do. But I'm no longer interested in engaging any of these false dialectics. And I want us all to sort of unite on what we can agree upon. We can split hairs over our differences later, but that right there is Satan. And we got to defeat that. That's how I feel. So good. Kudos to him. Bev writes, I already read that comment. Pardon me. One Will Wallace writes, "No, Candace, seeking the truth, upsetting the norm, no content for Shapiro to appease them. Everything you are saying is a script from my younger days. We are descendants from another star." Off topic now, but the confirmation of extraterrestrials is more confirmation of God for those of you who need it. I'm not so sure I believe that. I think that when we speak about aliens, what are we speaking about?
Well, the
This,
Bible
of course,
says that they're
we could have a longer
demons.
theological discussion about this, but are we speaking about Nephilim? Are we speaking about like I said, read the book of Enoch, and you had these fallen angels who intentionally mated with the human race. And, what are we speaking about? It's a lot more that we can discuss, and we should have those discussions, especially now that we realize that they freak out when you bring up things like the Sumerian tablets, or you bring up Operation Looking Glass. Oh, that's so crazy. No, stop. You will no longer muggle us. We know what you guys are up to. We know all of this stuff is real, and this is your obsession with the Middle East. It holds history, and that's what they want to destroy. And we're waking up to it too fast, though. That's what matters most. Anyway, you guys, we will see you tomorrow.
Bye, Candace. So the other thing that I had considered a possibility, in the thought of doing the health data, getting our genes, or, every citizen's genes and having that in the data, is that they're also looking for, if it's true, and aliens, demons, and those fallen angels had, I do believe it's true. I do believe the Bible that happened. Then what if they're also looking for that genetically? What if they, have ideas of how to do that? So yeah, they're demons. They're demons for sure. That's what I think. And I think digging into this stuff, you guys, I have so much homework ahead of me, a lot of nights. I'll try not to stay up till 5. Like I said, I get OCD to where I'll just get really fixated, and I have to get through it. I think I have maybe 200 more of the files in a subset that I was looking at for the Epstein files. Oh, Tyler Robinson was in court today because, his team's trying to recuse or, throw out the prosecuting team because one of the team members' son, who was 18, the son is of age, they're 18, it's a young adult, was there at the Charlie Kirk event when Charlie was murdered. So I think that's still going on. I don't think we have an answer on that yet. But they were still giving oral arguments right before we went live here. So that's something to look forward to. So I do have a lot of homework, and please, you guys, send out, the people that I told you, go back and look at the beginning of the show so you guys can catch up on that. I'll be sharing more stories with you, but yeah, so just help send out prayers and thoughts that these people will want to answer back and come on the show so that we can have them here to discuss things. So lots of books to read, lots of research and sourcing and resources to look at. So I'll be doing that. Yes, spend a lot of time studying. It's better than watching in TV, although I did have some recommendations for you guys. Hold on, Cisco. I remember when the story about finding Gilgamesh's tomb came out in the press. I was so excited about it, then never heard a peep afterwards. Yes, and I'm sure that's by design. Okay, so I love movies. I love shows, you guys. So I have some recommendations. We talked about before looking at Running Man, and looking at it through the eyes of what's being done and the direction that our government and the evil people in there want to take things. Truth and Treason is really good. It's based on a true story back in Nazi Germany, and the 17-year-old stands up and really steps out there, and it's really good. And then Anniversary. This is a thriller. It's streaming now. I watched it from Vudu, but which is now, what is it? Anyway, it's streaming, and it too looks at, if you look at it like in terms of what our government and the direction that some people want to take our world, it's really good. Really good. So I look at things through that lens often. So anyways, is there anything else in my notes here that I wanted to tell you guys? Well, Erika Kirk had petitioned the court to move things along. She's got, in Utah, they have a a law that says victims have a right to a speedy trial. So when the defense team wanted to look at possibly kicking out the prosecutor, then Erika's attorney, who also was an Epstein attorney, jumped in and says, well, we have a right to a speedy trial. My guess, what I feel, I'm suspicious of everything she says and everything she does, is that she wants the speedy trial before we can get more tips. So I'm hoping, and let's pray again, that the tip lines, they're still open and we still keep getting the information. I know it's probably slowed down quite a bit since Candace started all of this investigation. So let's all keep pushing and hoping for that. And Anniversary. Yeah, it's called Anniversary. And it's got Diane Lane in it, who I really like. Yeah, they're good. You're welcome. And the Stars YouTube. What's this? Casey Brown of Enter the Stars YouTube does excellent movie decodes. Okay, cool. Thanks for the recommendation. Awesome. So yeah, go back and look at the first part of the show, and also check out the Dre Dossier, DREY, on YouTube, on Substack. It's really great. She's really, really good. Like, she spends hours and hours and hours doing this stuff. So I'm hoping to get her on too. So anyways, thank you guys for being here. Please subscribe, hit the notifications bell. Please share if you feel comfortable on your social medias. See you on Instagram. I am on Upscroll. TikTok, I'm still there. I don't know for how long, because you know TikTok's being creepy. But Jeff says, Anniversary really made me think about today's world and politics. Yeah, it's wild. The parallels are crazy. See his Trump playlist. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you for being here. I missed y'all, and we will see you tomorrow, and we'll talk about more. Okay. Bye-bye. Take care.
This is a better life. From scars to stars, from pain to bulletproof. Teresa, better life. A better life with you. Talking news, pop culture life, love and scandal, heart to heart. Teresa, better life. Real is where the reset starts. No playing small. We rise, we fall. We laugh, we do it all. A better life is one brave call. Teresa, better life. Let's build a better life. Let's build a better life. A better life. Teresa, better life.